Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Today is Monday. Shay, look at me. Okay, hello, everyone. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space where we discuss everything relationship and love. On the show with me today, I have Shay and Jacinta.
This is
Hello,
Shay.
Jess.
Hi, how are
We're
you?
good. We're good. Shay wasn't paying attention to me. I had to harass him. Shay, how are you doing?
See, she was saying I should look at her. What is in her face that I'm looking at? Look at me.
Shay, look at me.
Okay, I'm looking at you.
So, Jess, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are all of you? How are you guys doing?
We're good. We kind of,
Yeah.
we're just there. So many things happening around, and it's actually International Women's Week month. So many things are happening centered around women. Just anything to say about the IW Day?
I just think that the struggle still continues. There's a whole lot more to be done. It's not all about just posting, being a part of it,
Okay.
behind, your camera, or it's more like going out there and doing more and speaking out when necessary, so that we can at the end of the day find equality one way or the other and make sure that we as women we're well represented in the society. So yeah.
Shay, how about you? IWD, International Women's Week month.
Don't you guys have everything? You will celebrate you guys almost every week. There's always something to celebrate about women. You have International Women's Week, Pregnant Women's Week.
Oh
You
God,
know,
Shay.
there's
Why did
always
I why
something.
did I call Shay's name?
And all these men. I'm really fearing for my old age because we always seem to be left out. There's always something to celebrate women about. Yes, you people complain the most about marginalization, about, patriarchy, about all these things.
So on the
But the
show
numbers
today,
but the numbers are true.
And I'm still going to go back to this
So,
Lamborghini
but
gist.
guess what? He was just trying to introduce the topic for today. So on the show today, we're actually discussing patriarchy, and was saying the tradition and the custom has enforced male dominance in Nigeria. I personally think that's true, in as much as she doesn't think, doesn't agree with me.
I
What?
actually I agree with you.
Okay.
Um, what I'm saying is just that the times are changing and it's changing very fast.
Okay.
Um, and one of the things I was saying is if you check right now,
Okay.
I don't know why, but I feel like women get more favors. Women get more. Women are given more access into, um, in the corporate world right now.
Mm-hmm.
They employ a lot more women than men. Um, I even feel like women's voices are, getting amplified a lot more these days. If you go to a court in the case of domestic disputes, chances are that you know they would give the woman more
Audience.
audience than you, and chances are that the laws would favor her more in terms of the decision in the court. Um, if we roll back some years back, you know, you wouldn't even be given the chance to go and say your own side of the story in these places. And I know Lagos State is quite big on everything that has to do with women. So I
Yeah.
feel like right now, um, I know there's going to be a lot of argument on this, but I feel like right now the odds are even stacked against men than women in terms of voices being heard. When a woman shouts "wolf," everybody will run out and say yes without even giving a second thought to the other person involved.
If it was
In
a male.
Yes, but if a man comes out and says, "Oh, they did this to me," everybody will tell him to go
Yeah,
and
but I don't think
sit down.
that's true. Shay, I don't think that's true because I think a lot of people are now being, a lot people are now like open-minded, so they want to hear both sides of the story. So usually it's the person who comes out first. But if the man is able to come out to also, share his own story, I think he's able to actually gain sympathy as well. There's this guy on social media now, the Yoruba actor. who has been going around, that the wife was sleeping with other actors in the, that story has been going around, and everybody seems to sympathize with the guy, So, and I think they're actually calling out the wife. So if men can actually, be bold enough to come out and say, share their stories, I don't think, people won't listen or empathize with them.
No, I think it's just a case of when you live long enough, you see the victim at some point turn out to be the oppressor. And I feel like because women for the longest of time have had the bad side of the stick, they've been marginalized for so long. And now that they are getting their voices, they are amplifying it. Some of them are amplifying it in the wrong way.
Yes.
Because they know that if I shout,
they go
before they even check out the second person's opinion, a lot more people will come to my support. And we see it play out on social media in everyday life right now. And it's even worse in places in the Western world, places like America and all that. All you need for you to go down as a man is for one unfounded accusation to come out.
Sex
and
harassment.
Says 10, 20 years ago, he did this, he did this. And before they even get to court, people are already pulling the plugs of you. Take, for example, the case of Amber Rose and Johnny Depp. Before they even got to court, before anything happened, sponsors already dropped him off just because somebody said, he slapped me, or somebody said, it was before they could even, so. And I feel like because women have been marginalized for so long, now that their voices are being heard, they are not channeling it in the right way. They are coming out, a lot of, ladies are crying wolf on things and it is also not good for the women that are actually going through things, because at the end of the day, now that they've given you voices to come out, you now misuse it, and people will now stop believing it. Because right now, you even see that women are still coming up against women and saying that, this is wrong, what this person is doing is, things like that. But that does still not stop, from us from having an equal society. I'm a firm believer of having equal opportunities, equal society. It doesn't have to be gender-based. It doesn't have to be a woman or a man. If a woman is equally as good as the man, then, they should have equal opportunities. I don't know if that's feminism or whatever it is, but I strongly believe that it should be equal opportunities. It shouldn't be such that, because she's a woman, she should get this, or because, he's a man, you should get this above the other. I believe in equal opportunities.
I'm impressed coming from a guy.
If you can lift weights.
I was actually going to praise you before you made that.
And as a woman, please go ahead. If you can work in the army as a woman, better than a guy, please go ahead. If a guy can be a nanny as equally as good as
or stay at home dad,
please feel free. Go ahead. There should not be any divide. We should be having equal opportunities in every sector.
Even in paying bills now.
Provided the woman or the man is as capable as their counterparts, please. Let's have an equal.
Okay, so
I don't want a situation. I don't want a situation where you choose which one you want to have equal opportunities on.
Okay.
Like I want to have equal opportunity to be a general in the army, but I don't want to be on the battlefield. I don't know if that makes sense. It should be equal opportunity throughout. If you're fighting for equality,
not in some areas.
Not in some areas. It should be across board.
I agree. I get you. I don't agree with you.
Okay.
Okay. So we have an email from Adana, and it's a lengthy one, but I'll read, and then we'll go on a break and come back to this. So she says, "Dear Franca, I hope this email finds you well. My name is Adana, and I'm writing to you because I believe your platform has the power to challenge the deep-seated tradition that continues to hold women back in Nigeria. I was born and raised in an Igbo village where despite my academic excellence and ambition, my future was already decided for me. As the eldest daughter, my duty was to marry and bear children. while my younger brother, despite having less interest in school, was groomed to inherit my father's wealth and legacy. When I expressed my desire to study law and build a career, I was met with resilience. My father insisted that education meant little if I couldn't fulfill my true purpose as a wife. My father, uncles, and even my mother told me I was bringing shame to the family by chasing independence instead of marriage. I refused to accept this fate. Against all odds, I secured a scholarship and moved to Lagos, where I completed my studies. Today, I'm a practicing lawyer, helping women fight for their rights in a society that often silences them. But despite my personal victory, I still see many young girls trapped in the same circle I escaped. The weight of tradition and fear of being the weight of tradition and fear of being ostracized, ostracized, and the internalized belief that a woman's worth is tied to marriage continues to disempower so many. Franca, I know change doesn't happen overnight, but I believe it starts with conversations like the ones you lead on your show. How can we begin to shift the mindset of families who see their daughters as second-class citizens? How do we convince mothers who were once victims of such custom that their daughters deserve better? And how do we empower young women to reclaim their voices without making them feel like outcasts in their own homes? I would love to share my story on your platform not for my sake, but for the countless young women, young girls who need to know that their dreams are valid and their future are theirs to shape. Looking forward to your thoughts. Warm regards, Adani. Jess, did you hear her story?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So I have a lot to say about this, but before we go into this, let's quickly go on a break and we'll come back to this.
Stay. Heartlines would be right back.
Life is made up of moments, some that fill us with joy, others that test our strength. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space to explore the highs and lows of human connection, the love, the heartbreak, and resilience that shapes our life. From relationships to friendships, parenting to partnerships, and so much more. Every week, we share stories and conversations that define us, navigating love, separations, the struggles of parenting, dealing with anxiety and managing the pressures and stress of life. Real conversations that bring us closer, helping us heal, grow, and connect. So join me Mondays through Fridays at 10 p.m. for Heartlines, the show where we connect hearts, have real conversations with real people, one story at a time.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Okay, so please know you can share your story via WhatsApp line 08190384663, and then you can also call to join in this conversation on 07025007749 or 07014242420. This story is
Resonates with you.
it resonates with me in the sense that, okay, fine, my father wasn't like that, but I'm Igbo. I understand the whole Igbo tradition where it's about the first son inheriting everything. So I lost my dad a month ago, and I think I was kind of the closest to my dad as the first daughter. And so he died on Thursday, and then I went home on Friday. And I was there, and okay, so it seemed okay. But guess what? My younger brother, I'm older than one person before my brother, comes like a few days after. And I hear them saying, the man of the house has come. The man of the house is around, you know. So there was this this thing, And in all honesty, I think that it affects the child whether you like it or not.
Sure. Yeah.
Because you now find him, begin to act in a certain way, And I just sat down, I saw him trying to take decisions without carrying people along, feeling, oh. So before he came, he was calling to say, big sis, what do we do? What do we do? But immediately they started saying those things. I could see him, trying to unconsciously trying to take charge, because they were saying, you are now the man of the house. You are now the this, And it just takes me back to when we were growing up. I remember my dad used to say, you're the man of the house. Then we were younger. And my father would say, if, you should watch your sisters. You're the man. If you find that they are doing something wrong, or if a guy comes to the house to see them, that kind of thing. If a guy
That's
comes to
your
the house,
younger brother.
that's my younger brother, yes. My dad would say, if a guy comes to the house, so you have the right to send the guy away and things like that, And the truth is, I don't think parents know this, but subconsciously, you're creating problems between siblings.
Definitely.
Because for us, it's not like that, because same mom, and, a sibling. So I really can't be bothered about, such things. But you can imagine in a polygamous home, where there's this thing about the first son, and there's this thing about the male child and the female child. See this lady's story. Her younger brother, who wasn't interested in school, was even given more attention than her, who actually wanted to go to school. And then we keep saying this thing that if they even say, okay, let's groom you for marriage, they just tell you get married after. You're not prepared for marriage. You're not groomed to get into marriage, because these men we're talking about, these men that we see are not even groomed properly to take the role. They are just told you are the man of the house. They don't know what it entails to be the man of the house. It is not everybody that is a man. And then you find women getting married to these uncultured men, and then they raise kids that, I don't get it, but I think it's annoying. And because it's a custom in this part of the world, it just begins, it goes into, see what happened at the Senate. I can tell you for sure that it is the man-woman thing, the male, that thing, that's what it is, But let me not, Jacinta, I don't know. What do you think about this lady's story, Adane's story?
I just feel that this story and obviously your story there are just different angles to it, And I'd also say, okay, let me say this. Most of my couples therapy that I've done so far, I've realized is a pattern, and most of the problems that comes up in the relationship between a man and a woman is this same patriarchy issue, unknowingly for them, because they have in their subconscious that they're expected to do this, they're supposed to do this, and they don't even know it. I'm a man, this is my role, this is what I'm doing. So they live according to a script. And when it's not like that, there's always some sort of dissatisfaction, or he just cannot function anymore because you're taking him out of his comfort zone. Or just like you said, your brother growing up has been told that he's the head of the house, and that's all he's been told to. So he's saying that that's who he is and that's his role, and he finds it difficult to come out of those kind of those existential, forms that have been positioned, So they find, I would say that men also find it very difficult. Like you mentioned that your brother was calling you and talking to you before he came, and once he got there, he had to fit into a role. even if he didn't want to fit into that role, but that's what he's expected to do. So it's more like a structuring, it's like a cognitive structuring of who he's supposed to be. So I'll say to you, which is this angle I'm also going to, is men are also, there's also, this gender, this role thing, yeah, men are not also getting the best of it, to be honest. Because these roles that are given to men, some men don't want it. They're not prepared for it, like you've just said. And it has been imposed on them. And most of the time, when they do something differently, there's always a backlash that says, but you're a man. It's just recently that men have decided to do what it is that they want to do nowadays, and obviously not just, conform to the norm. Then let me also speak on the Igbo tradition. Looking at the Igbo tradition, yeah, it goes even to pre-colonial days, and even maybe all the way to, when we were still Homo sapiens and gorillas. But I'll just come towards the pre-colonial days. Before the colonial masters came, we already had this structure. But the good thing there was, I think it was more of a partnership existence or structure there, because the men had the inheritance, but the men had the community, the social, the market, and all of that. So I think it was shared. I don't know how it was shared. I don't know who shared all of this, but the men had the inheritance, they had the land, the head of the house, while the women had some sort of structure. It could be, locally. That's why you see women, yeah, of course, it was not a lot, but you see women like Queen Amina, I think of Zazo, and then you
Zaria.
have Moremi of
Moremi
Ife,
of
if I can
Ife,
remember. These are women that did exploit in their time. And I
Ifeoma
think
of
they just knew
Benin
shared
City.
roles. It was not like a partnership structure, but over time, dominance came and dominance won. And I can tell you that the colonial masters brought in dominance, because when they came into Nigeria, most of what they did was, it was the men they were trading with. So they get the heads of the homes and the villages, and then they would trade with them. Cash crop was when it was raining, so they traded with the men. Even when the Western education came, it was most of the men that were going to schools, and the women, the girls were left behind. And over time, those women who had structures, locally, they stopped patronizing them. And before you knew it, they were relegated, you know, behind. And over time, it just happened that the colonial masters deepened what was already in existence. And over time, in Nigeria, that just continued like that. And like you said, women are just seen as though what we're here for is just to give birth and get married. If you look at the northern part of Nigeria, women are excluded, from the society completely, which they lack being seen and all of that. Even if she had any sort of work, she would have to work inside her house, and then maybe give a male family member or her son to maybe go and, trade. She had to be in partnership with, just so that she can get her goods out there. And it's obviously this little thing, maybe like sewing or cooking something. So I feel that it was more of the dominance structure that came, which obviously, so patriarchy. What I'm trying to say is patriarchy wasn't what it was. It was not how it was supposed to be. We had roles, we were partners, but obviously, as time passes over time, dominance came. Men wanted to dominate the women, and this is where we are today. And then it has flourished over time to where we are. But I must say that in recent times, over generations, we are now obviously fighting against it. There are a lot of advocacies, on all of these things that women have gone through, and it's getting better over time. But we must understand that men also suffer from these things, because not all of them wants to actually take those roles. And of course, women, like the lady who talked about her father's properties, nowadays, I hope she knows that the Supreme Court doesn't allow for that anymore. The police might be slow on it, the customs tradition might be slow on it, but the Supreme Court, if you take it to court, they will definitely rule for her favor. We all saw what happened to the Wigwe family and all of that happened. So yeah, things are changing, and we should be aware of it as women.
Okay, Shay, as a guy, I know growing up, you were running from being the first son role, that first son role.
So that's why I was actually going to talk about that,
Yeah.
because for me in a house growing up, I'm the first of three, with two boys and a girl, and I don't know how my mom got a wing of that early, or how she was able to raise us, but there were no gender-based roles in my house. there was nothing that absolutely had to say, let the girl do this, let the boys do this. It was just like what Jacinta was saying just now. It was a partnership because in the in us trying to push the narrative of patriarchy, let's also look at. I don't like to look at things only from a negative side. I want to look at it from a positive side. But let me start from what I was saying. So there's no gender-based rules in my house. What, in fact, for the longest time, my younger sister was the last to learn how to cook
But she's
because
the last one. No, she's a
she's
twin.
a twin.
Sorry.
Yeah, and she learned how to cook the last because she didn't have to. She had brothers who did everything from washing the floor to cooking to pounding yam to doing everything. She had brothers who did that, and we didn't make her feel like you are the one that is a woman. You're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do that. She did whatever she wanted to do as a boy. She played football with all of us. She, there was nothing like a gender should do this, a gender should do that. If you're good at this, please go ahead and do it. If you're good at that, please go ahead and do it. And so I feel like it should be a partnership. It should be what are your strengths? What are you good at? Do you how do you thrive in what you're good at? If you're good at my sister also started driving just like all of us. We started driving very early, 16, we started driving. My sister too started driving, So it wasn't like, you're a woman, sit down. And my dad too was very open with, raising us like that. And what that did is it fostered, cohesion. It fostered togetherness in us because it was seen as a partnership. If my mom wants to chastise me, she won't say, take care of your sister. She's a girl. She will say, take care of your
Yes.
siblings. Do you get? It wasn't the same amount of care that I would give to my brother is expected I give that same amount of care
To your
to my
sister or
sister
more.
or more. So it
Or
was
more because she was a girl.
yeah, or more because she was a girl, but
Or
it
she's
wasn't.
a girl, sorry.
I mean, she's a girl, but it wasn't a case of because she's a girl, treat her like this. Because she's a boy, it was a case of equal love, equal attention, equal opportunities. Um, when my siblings wanted to go for masters, they were like, "What would you want to go? Do you want to go for masters as well?" She chose where she wanted to study a master's. My brother chose he wanted to go for, flight school aviation. And my dad sat down and equally apportioned it to them. There was nothing like, you're a woman, you go to your husband's house. There was absolutely nothing like that. And are they better off for that? Absolutely. So, in talking about patriarchy, right, I also want us to talk about equal opportunities, which is, let's not say, um, let's not pick and choose, like I said earlier. Let's not say the woman is better at this. If your woman is going to be working, you learn, you that don't want to take up the responsibility of doing, you know, like what Jacinta was saying, you don't want to take up the responsibility. Some men don't want that stress. Then you should be willing to go and do school runs. Do you get what I'm saying? You should be willing to go to school, pick up the kids from school, take care of them, be there. Do you get? Be able to do all these things. I don't feel there should be a gender-based rule that says strictly for men, strictly for women. It should be a partnership. Um, I was, my son just came from school today, and there's a boy in his class, right, that is very good educationally. And do you know who attends to that boy?
Your dad.
His dad. His dad is an entrepreneur. He doesn't have the regular 8 to 5 job. His mom works 8 to 5, right? His dad never misses school runs. Picks him up. And we all know because we see him. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, flip the script. Some silly men, silly, would say, it's not my, it's not in my place to
do
go and be
school.
picking children. You get what I'm saying? It's not in my place. Meanwhile, you have a wife that's going to 8 to 5. So she will run. You're not doing nada. Or rather, you're doing something, but you have control of your time, right? But because you want to ascertain the fact that you're a man, you're not supposed to be taking care of children or chasing after children in quotes. You leave somebody that goes 8 to 5 to be begging our bosses to take time out to go and pick our children. And these are the little things that even affect women's career. Do you get? Because the husband who is supposed to be in partnership or the wife who is supposed to be in partnership demands too much, or the man demands too much from the wife. And if you have an office and you have a woman who is always going 2 hours because she needs to do school runs, and you have a man who absolutely does nothing at home, all he does is focus on his work, 8 to 5, 8 to 5. When the time comes for promotion
Results.
and appraisals, who do you think will get the MD position?
The female, the male.
Of course, because it doesn't have divided attention. It doesn't, and we always hide under the guise of I can't multitask, I can't multifunction. I think it's bollocks, because everybody has the capacity to be able to handle things at the same time. But back to so the boy does excellently well in education because his dad pays so much attention, and it's not because he's a weak man. In fact, I feel he's a very strong man to be able to take on that role and do it excellently well. You know, so we need to begin to look into the society as more of a partnership, because also in the saying of this whole patriarchy thing, right? We can now start saying because we don't want to feel like there needs to be balance in everything. We don't want to feel like a patriarchy system. We will now assign roles that you obviously know that men can do better in those roles to women, because all in the guise of we are trying to be a more open system, we are trying to accommodate women more. For example, you're not going to send women to the front lines. You know, I was just playing the devil's advocate when I was talking about it the other time, because they are not built for that. Do you get? But
But now they're being. But now the women are.
Disagree.
Yeah, women
no,
are
no, no.
actually.
Like I said, if a woman has the competence level to be on the front row, please, by all means, let her go there and excel there and do whatever she needs to do. Do you understand? What I'm saying is, you don't put people in a position where they are disadvantaged because you're trying to give them an undue advantage.
Yeah.
Do you understand? If they are competent enough to take up that responsibility, please assign that responsibility to them. But
Okay.
at the same time, let's be mindful of the fact that it is a partnership. If you are good at something, then the partner, if we see society as a partnership where women and men are working hand in hand, then we shouldn't have role-based things that gives dominance to the man. It should be such that if you are good at this, please go ahead and nail it. I will be on the back side. I will do this at the back. Do you understand? If I am good at this, let me go front and chest it. Then you be at the back, sort out the things at the back.
I'll be clapping for you. I can be a cheerleader self.
Whatever oils your engine, you know. So, but in terms of Nigeria, we still have a long way to go. We don't, in as much as we are getting there, we're getting better, but we don't necessarily give voice to women, if we're being honest. A man's voice is still, better amplified in places of management, in the political space, in generally places where influence is key. You have more men talk, and gain respect. And when a woman talks, they'll be like, no, 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 she's emotional. But low key too, women also need to do better
Okay.
in terms of when you are given a position, not abuse it. Be the best at it. And, for example, the stuff we're talking about where, it has now, you've given women the, voice to talk about things and you listen to them more. It is not that time that you now have a lot more people come out to cry wolf about that position. Women should also take responsibility and, use it today.
Everything you have said now, you just spoil them, but it's okay. Let's quickly go on a break. Let's quickly go on a break. When we come back, I would attend to you, Shay.
Stay tuned. Heartlines will be right back.
Tell us you're a Nigerian without saying a word. Energy security is one of the most pressing issues for many developing countries like Nigeria. And if there's going to be any meaningful progress, addressing our energy issues is non-negotiable.
I need to see light from my house. Make them do something.
Band A is expensive. I literally have to turn off all my appliances just to reduce costs.
We need light.
Introducing the Energy Outlook, your go-to show for everything energy. Every week, we'll bring you the latest insights, innovation, and in-depth analysis of Nigeria's energy sector. From policy discussions to regulatory insights, we'll analyze the key decisions influencing growth and sustainability in the energy sector. We'll bring you the human stories behind the headlines, giving you a personal perspective on the broader energy challenges. Join me every Friday at 6 p.m. for the Energy Outlook, your guide to the future of energy, where energy means business.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Okay, so please note that you can join in these conversations. You can call us. This is a very interesting conversation. So you can actually call in to join, share your ideas, tell us what you think about what's going on. You can call us on our direct number. Sorry, hold on. I don't know. I'm not able to get those numbers now on the screen. The numbers are not coming up. Okay, so when they come up on the screen, I would read them out. Okay, so Jacinta, based on what Shay said, what do you think about what Shay said? The last part of what Shay said, saying women are crying wolf, and they're abusing. They're abusing the opportunity or the voices that have been given to them. Do you agree?
Okay.
Do you agree with that?
No, I don't. No, to some degree, I don't agree. So the thing is, you're saying that when women are given the opportunity, that women should make the best use of it. Women should, give in their best. Don't cry wolf when it's not necessary. Of course, nobody wants to encourage anybody to cry wolf. But what I'm trying to say to you is, you assigning so much for a woman is as though she's not supposed to have those positions in the first place. You're saying that it's as though it's a privilege for you to be in a position that is mainly male dominated, emphasizing that, listen, this position that you are in, you're not fit to be there or you're not supposed to be there, and then you have to do your best. And this is the pressure that women are experiencing in all of these roles that people tend to think it's more male dominated or it's supposed to be for the men. First of all, I don't know who ever said that it's supposed to be for the men, but they are struggling and fighting. I don't see when people say to men, make sure you do your best when you're there. Of course, mothers will say that to their kids, but I'm talking about what you would hear, in those positions, especially when it comes to leadership positions, or you're maybe at the top of some big organization or whatever. They just expect that a woman should really burn out, stress out, do everything she can because trying to prove a point, trying to prove that she's worth it, that she's expected to have it. But the question is why? Why do women have to go through that? Because of this thing, these same privileges and rights, and the fact that you're not supposed to be there. So I just think that women are going through a lot. They are going through a lot, and no matter how much it's not a joke. It's prevalent in our society. It's clear, and because of this dominance, and like I said earlier on, this structure, this dominance, men want to dominate women. I don't know what they gain from it. I don't know what they get from it. I don't know what kind of urge, but they just want to ridicule women and pull them down. And they will do it any which way they can. And they use all sorts of things like sexism and anything possible just to let the woman feel that she's unworthy and she's not supposed to be in, places where she has fought for and where she has worked hard for.
Okay. So I'm going to deviate from what we're discussing right now and give a scenario, and I want to hear your opinions. Shay, regarding women abusing this whole feminism and abusing the fact that, they've been given their voices. Now, I want to take it back to the Senate. Do you think that Natasha would have had a better case if she didn't come up with sexual harassment?
Yes, I feel she would have she would have had a better case if she tackled the matter, on a one-on-one basis.
Heads on.
Which is, I stood up as a member, not any gender, thing attached to it. And you stood up and I did this and I said this and you came against me and did this and said that. There's always that side of when, and it's not just women, it's just generally as a human being. There's always that side of when you're losing an argument or when you're losing something, you whip up the sentiments that a lot of people resonate with. So that if I say, as a woman, if me and you are arguing as a woman, and it's getting heated, and I feel like I'm losing as a woman, and I shout sexual harassment, you automatically know that, it amplifies people's voices. People want to talk on that. Unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know how this case, I don't know whatever is happening, and I don't want to speak for that. If she tackled it like, a member, forget all the gender thing, let's leave gender aside, I feel it would have been a better standpoint. It would have been a better argument one-on-one. And that being said, and it also doesn't help when, for that particular person, there's been a proven case of you had raised it up with somebody in the past who was Reno, and it was proven false. It doesn't help. That's what I mean by if you're given an opportunity and you use it, because let's be honest, it is what it is already. Men are the ones calling the shots, and men are the ones. For example, now, if how do I say it now? We always say these things about Nigerians. That Nigerians have gone to Canada, they've gone to spoil it for people. That is not gender-based. But that's just, it is what it is. As a Nigerian with that tag Nigerian, it just means you need to do extra, to prove yourself and open the way for others to be brought on board. It doesn't necessarily mean that now you have to carry the whole world on your shoulder. It's just, it is what it is. If it is what it is, then whoever is given the opportunity has to do extra work to bring other people into that level. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not a case of, I don't try to belittle man or woman or say that women have to do more or they shouldn't even be there in the first place. I believe women, depending on the woman, are excellent manager of people because they are the first building block. Women, so they've understood how to manage people from a young age, from raising children, from even, growing up as families where they'll say the woman should be the one to take care of your sister, go and take care of your, they've learned how to manage people over time. And I feel like if given the opportunity, they're a better manager
than the men.
Yeah, than the men in terms of managing people and having empathy, and dealing with people without some sort of, strings attached. And that is not to say some women, too, if in a position of authority, will not still take advantage of it and all that, So it's just a human thing.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not a human thing.
So, yeah, so I think the numbers are back on. So you can call us on 070-2500-7749 or 070-1424-2420 to join in this conversation. Jacinta, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, so do you think Shei's explanation about what happened between the Senate president and Natasha, is because she's a female, and do you think she would have handled it better if she didn't bring in the sexual harassment into it?
Okay. First of all, I would say that I watched her interview on, was it Arise? And if you had listened to her, she would say that she used the word outburst. She said that, of course, it was another case, another scenario of her, standing up and all of that. But she then explained why she had shouted and why she had raised her voice and why she had caused the commotion that happened in the house. And she used the word outburst, meaning that there were many other things that had happened before that time. And we're human beings. We can finally, at some point, maybe, vent out. It might not be exactly why, but it could be something triggered by something from the past. And unfortunately, that was the trigger, the sexual harassment. So if you say that, why, was it a good place or was it a good time to say it? I would say that it was a great time because she's explaining why she did what she did. She's explaining why she was shouting. She was explaining why she didn't want to sit down because she feels that she's not been treated fairly in the House, in the Senate. And this has continued to happen because she refused to, do the needful. Okay? And then I would say that Akpabio, looking at his countenance and going forward, all the things that they have done so far, you see that he's very emotional about it. I'm sorry to say, but you can see that everything that has happened afterwards has been very emotional. And you can see him trying to dominate her, trying to crush her. You can see him trying to use his male power on her. Because first of all, when you talk to her the way you talk to her, let's come on, guys. There was a time he said, I don't know, he used some phrase, nightclub. He related that to her at some point. That's the sexism. That's men trying to put women down. I don't know. I think some lady came on to some TV show. I don't know where someone had said that she had kids from different. What does that have to do with the fact that she's saying that this is what is happening? I feel that I'm not fairly, treated. I feel that I'm being removed from things that can expose me to the international market. I'm being removed for this and this because of this reason. People, please help me. That was a cry for help. And I think it was the best time she could have said it if truly that was the case. Because I can't say that that's what's happening and if that's true. But if it were true, that was the best time to say it. When else was she going to say it? If she says other thing otherwise, that's if it truly happened and if truly that was the reason for her outbursts and her annoyance, that's the best time to say it. So it's not trying to seek sympathy. I don't think people are that manipulative all the time. No, I don't. Coming from my own perspective, I don't look at things like that because I don't look at manipulation when I'm doing my things. I don't think it's from a point of trying to get the public to get on your side. I would say that it's just a woman who was vulnerable at that point in time and wanted people to come to her aid and come to her rescue. But because she has said it now, people are thinking that she's trying to manipulate the whole idea in her favor. And this is the same thing we're talking about. Women are not taken seriously. Women, when they cry for help, and that's why I say a lot of women don't cry for help. The Reynolds case, even if Reynolds says, oh, she had lied, the timestamp and the timestamp, listen, we don't always have to get everything right. We might be saying the truth, but it might come across as though it's a lie, maybe because we get just one timestamp or something wrong. It doesn't mean everything is a lie, maybe. I'm not also saying that she could not have also lied, but I'm just saying that if it were true, yes, a woman can say 20, 30 times that she has been sexually harassed because these things are happening every day. If women were to open their mouths and talk about these things, I don't think this world I don't think we'll all be able to live on Earth, to be honest. And I would
Okay.
say that Natasha, sorry, let me just finish this. Natasha's a beautiful woman. She's a well-accomplished lady. There's no door, and I'm saying this, and it's not as though it's false. There's no door she opens that most of the men will not look at her differently. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality that we are in. That's where I'd like to stop, Franca.
Nice one. Okay, so I want to ask, do you guys think bride price or polygamy has anything to do with patriarchy?
Patriarchy, yes.
Oh, definitely.
I do.
Definitely.
I
It's
do.
one of our major problems.
Yes.
Definitely.
I just press people's button now.
Yes.
Definitely.
Okay,
Because
so
they might think that, Franca, they might think that it's some sort of people try to make it seem as though it's some like it's a token of appreciation for your daughter. No,
It's from things like that. Yes.
it's a commodity. It's as though she is being bought, and that's why you see that most of them are relegated to the home as housewives, because they'll say, "I paid your bride price." Come and listen to what happens in the I don't want to use the word, in the marginalized communities. You'll be shocked as to what these people understand it to be. We are just the educated ones and we've seen life, so we tend to look at it differently. But those people
In
think
my
they're
family, they
buying
return
them.
the bride price.
And that's the dominance, to dominate over you. That's why they pay the bride price.
Oh,
To
so
take you
my
as though
father,
a commodity.
yeah, my father refused to collect bride price, but again, now, right, so the bride price thing. But so I want us to compare what happens in India and what happens in Nigeria. Now, in India, women are the ones who pay the bride, the groom price. Do they call it the groom price? But guess what?
They're
The
still being
women are still,
dominated.
yes, they're still being dominated. They're still marginalized. They're even treated worse than because they live in the family house. They have to do. They're not allowed to work, But they're the ones they're the ones paying the price.
Can I take it back to the Yoruba culture? It's just like we talked about the Igbo culture, where the women, obviously, they have no sort of inheritance. They can't take, they're not, even their names, literally whisked away the women. Let's look at the Yoruba culture. The Yoruba culture, the man and the daughter and the son obviously have the same rights to their father's property. That's how the Yoruba practice theirs. But guess what? Even if the daughter and the son are given properties and whatever, it's still the eldest man in the house. It's still the eldest son that still, what's it call it? Looks over those properties and makes sure that it's being used in certain ways and all of that. So sometimes it might look as though, this culture, this tradition is for the women. But if you look deep down, you still find out that it still trickles down to male dominance, where the male, the head of the family, is still taking all the decisions. Even the widows as well, they're not entitled to their husband's properties. Even they will literally leave off maybe the man's brother, if she doesn't have any son, to give her stipends every month so that she can, go about her day. Even after all the years that she has put in to work for that man's, for all the wealth that he had accumulated.
Okay, so what we're trying to say, okay, sorry, Jess, but what we're trying to say is patriarchy in bride price. And we're saying that it is patriarchy in Nigeria because the men dominate the women. That's why they make them pay bride price. And I'm asking, in India, is the reverse, but the same thing happens. So would you say that's also patriarchy?
Yes, well, that's how it is. However, because still...
So it has nothing to do with the bride price, basically. That's my question.
No, Franca, let's put it this way. Now, you see, the thing about life is understanding. It's where you are, your environment, your community, whatever. Now, in this community, this is what is being said to us. We pay, we take, right? So we all know that, okay, this is how it's done. Then the men obviously use that to their advantage.
Okay.
Now, in India, the women pay. I think even in some culture in Nigeria as well, the women also pay. Anyway, the women then pay. But I'm trying to tell you that there's no significance for the woman paying, just like I talked about the Yoruba culture, in the sense that it might look as though the woman is supposed to take possession of the man, but it still goes back around. The woman still becomes the slave in the house. So you're saying that, does it mean that is not patriarchy? That singular act, that singular act, in Nigeria, obviously, is patriarchy. India's might not seem as though it is, but it's still the same. So I'm saying that your environment determines how you see things as well.
Okay.
I think it's more of the things that is being said and done and perpetrated.
Yeah, and done over time.
Than the act.
Than that item.
Yes.
Then the act. So,
the act.
so because you know why I say, because the way I said bride price and polygamy, and you guys just screamed, you know.
Yes, because when they are doing it in Nigeria, it is being
This is what
enforced.
it's, yes, it
they are
represents.
saying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are expecting you. They are saying it to you. They are saying.
So
have
that's
paid
what we're
for you.
saying in Nigeria is patriarchy. But somewhere else we don't know what it is. Okay, so what about in Kenya when women are now allowed to marry 4 husbands?
I don't know about that.
Now let's look at this now. Marrying 4 husbands. Okay, now we're going to look at it different ways. Like in the north,
Okay.
You see a man who marries, even the customary court law does not even tell you how many women you should marry. It just says take care of all of them. So men marry as many as they want.
Wow,
Those are
we
the
have
standards.
we need to go. We have less than 1 minute or
Oh
2
my
minutes.
God.
Oh gosh. Jessica, a quick one. What do you have to say? Oh,
So
God.
I'll just
Why
say
is it
that
1 hour?
over time, I know we'll get better. Over time, we'll get there. It's not an easy journey. It's not an easy road.
Okay.
We need to keep talking about this all
Okay.
the time. Yeah.
Okay. Shay, you want to say something?
Conversation, equal opportunities, equal, partnerships. See marriage, see, the opposites. Don't see them as a weaker vessel. Don't see them as beneath you. Just see them as partners.
Okay, so basically we're saying send us more emails. Today's email was so interesting. In fact, we all got engaged. So you could also send more emails. In fact, we're expecting you to send more emails to our email address at counsel@vedaconsult.com. And we will read out your story and, give our opinion give our thoughts on what we think about your situation. See you tomorrow.